All right, fam, we just got off stream like an hour or so ago. And of course, right then, a breaking news story hits from Insider Gaming. And naturally, I want to talk about it with you and get this out before I put the big kind of comprehensive video out tomorrow morning covering the buyout potential from Tencent and this all-in-one go. But to put it pretty simply, I mean, the article just says exclusive AC Black Flag remake is closer than you think. And he outlines, of course, this is Tom Henderson, the one and only, but he outlines that he's gotten further reporting and further insider knowledge right here. When rumors of the AC Black Flag remake began to circulate on the internet, many, including ourselves, assumed that the game would still be some years away from releasing. However, new details and documentation on the game sent to Insider Gaming under the condition that it does not go public suggest that the game is well into development and could be released much sooner than we thought. Now, when this first dropped, I think like late last year, I want to say, we all just assumed, okay, so they're just starting on it now. And this, to be specific, this is coming from the team in Singapore. So this is coming from the team that did Skull and Bones. So the assumption was, okay, they finished Skull and Bones, they got that out earlier this year, and now they're like starting on the remake, and so it's still probably 3 years away or 4 years away. Apparently not. Apparently it is actually coming much, much sooner, and they're expecting it next year. At least they were before these delays. In fact, prior to the recent AC Shadows delay, which is understood to have affected the AC pipeline of content releases, the AC Black Flag remake, codenamed Obsidian, was to be released around November of 2025, which would be around the same time as the series' multiplayer offering, codenamed Invictus, which they're also slating, it's estimated probably late next year. Now, this would mean their plan was to do a single player offering and a multiplayer offering at the same time, or at least roughly close to each other, which initially might be like, why would they release 2 Assassin's Creed games at the same time? I actually think this, if this is true, is a very, very good idea, because there is a large number of AC fans who I think, even with knowledge of things like Hexe and of course the Black Flag remake and other things they're doing, even with that knowledge, I think there's a lot of people who, when they see a multiplayer AC game, even if it's really good, will immediately be like, look what they've done. Look what they've done to our favorite franchise. Oh God, here we go. The collapse of Ubisoft, and people lose their minds. So I think pairing it with a single player offering is actually not a bad idea. And I think there are examples of other franchises who have done similar stuff. I mean, obviously Ubisoft has done dual releases before. They did, I believe it was Unity and Rogue released almost at the exact same time, because Unity was supposed to be the next gen game, and then Rogue was going to be the last gen game so they could sell to both platforms at the same time. Unfortunately, it kind of meant that Rogue was forgotten by a lot of gamers and overlooked, and then on the flip side, Unity got so much attention because it was so rushed to hit that launch window that it like just consumed all of the discussion and discourse. But it's a tale for another time. But this, I think, in concept, is a really, really good idea. Apologies if you hear a rumbling above me. That is the Roomba. She is vacuuming the floor vents above this this studio, and so you might hear an occasional brrr as she rolls over. But I think this is a good idea. If this ends up being the case, if they do launch a Black Flag remake at the same time as the multiplayer game, I think that's a great way to assuage concerns that AC is going multiplayer or Ubisoft is just trying to milk the franchise, whatever. If you compare it with a love letter to fans and a multiplayer offering that's probably built to cash in on the franchise, let's be honest, then that could kill 2 birds with 1 stone, make the single player fans happy and keep the multiplayer fans, though there probably aren't any really actively, but at the very least it could introduce that to a new audience, but the core audience, the old audience, will be happy. So if that ends up being the case, that I think is a really, really good idea. And if anybody at Ubisoft sees this, I'm just telling you, whether this is the plan or not, that should be the plan as far as I'm concerned. I think it will go over much better if you announce the Black Flag remake and then you announce the Invictus project and you're like, yep, they're going to come at the same time. So single player fans will have something, multiplayer fans will have something else, but everybody will be happy. Everybody's getting, dessert. You know, everybody's everybody's getting served. I think, whoops, wrong button. I think that's the way to do it. So I think that's a good idea. Insider Gaming understands that this is part of Ubisoft's ramp up strategy for AC as a series, which will see around 10 Assassin's Creed games of various lengths and experiences released in the next 5 years. This includes AC codenamed Jade, a fully fledged mobile offering with a tentative release date in Q2 of 2025, which would be fiscal year Q1 of 2026. Now, we talked a little bit about AC Jade on the stream just earlier today. It's really bizarre. It was supposed to be out, and by all accounts, it looked really, really good, but Tencent pulled most of the team off of it to go work on their like Fall Guys spinoff. Not even spinoff, it's more of a ripoff, but they're working on that because apparently that's printing money elsewhere. And I wonder, as part of the discussions of a potential buyout, if Tencent is going to try to get lower royalty fees and stuff on that project, because I do think Jade, based on the leaked footage I've seen, I have not had the chance to play it myself, though they did do a play test. But the footage I saw just straight up looked like AC Odyssey, but running on a phone. It was very, very impressive. And I'm sure it's going to be monetized impressively so as well. But if that footage remains and that quality remains the same, I think that actually could be a really cool thing. And I do think it'll make a crap ton of money, especially in Eastern markets like China and Japan and South Korea, where mobile gaming is much, much more common than in the US for these types of games, at least. But they have this, they have, of course, the Black Flag Remake, Jade, they have Shadows, they have Hexe, they have Invictus, they have probably a VR game or something. It's rumored they have like an AC1 remake in the works. Like, there's all sorts of rumors going around of what they're working on, but it's very, very clear Ubisoft is putting all of their eggs in the AC basket because it's the one thing that so far has consistently been successful for them, which is part of the reason why the AC Shadows delay was so striking. But as you see, they go on. Unfortunately, though, the recent AC Shadows delay, which Marc-Alexis Cote said to staff in an internal email, quote, will also impact the rest of the AC roadmap, end quote. And this may have skewed the release dates a little. That being said, to some, the Black Flag Remake is probably coming a few years earlier than some of us may have expected. And then this is interesting. Gameplay sent to Insider Gaming of the Black Flag Remake, under the condition that it does not go public, shows Edward Kenway sailing on a ship on the upgraded Anvil engine. And this is one thing where they're sending gameplay, and at the very least, he didn't feel the need to, I guess, like, say the gameplay looked really, really bad or looked really rough or didn't look like a big upgrade at all, what have you. But one thing that I have heard is that the new Anvil engine is meant to be scalable like this. It's meant to be able to take what you did before and then enhance it fairly easily. Now, one thing I do want to give them credit for is the game does look really good. This is footage from the Rad Brad. Sorry, my Ring doorbell's going off for whatever reason. But the game does look pretty good. Specifically the water, I think the cloth sim on the sails, all of that is pretty impressive. This is PS5 footage that you're seeing right now, but on PC it especially scales pretty well. It's pretty graphically impressive. So my understanding is that they're basically just taking this like Black Flag thing that they have, and then they're putting it through the new Anvil machine, which is the new engine that they have. And then the goal is that the new Anvil engine can basically just upgrade individual parts of it fairly straightforward. It shouldn't require a whole lot of reinvention or rebuilding from the ground up or anything, which is good. It means that they can get it done faster, but I also think that this means it's probably not going to be that like transformative of a remake. If people were hoping that they're going to like cut certain mission types, or if they're going to redo this or redo that, I don't think that's what they're doing. I think they are making Black Flag, but it will look like it released today. It will have all of the same content, same trailing missions, same stuff like that. Combat will still be pretty clunky. You know, it's AC Black Flag. But I, as like an old school fan that grew up playing the original Black Flag, I'm okay with that, though maybe new gamers will throw a pissy fit over it. But I think if it's a remake it. I don't need it reinvented. To a certain extent, reinventing during these remakes can often, in my opinion, make things worse or lose some of the spirit of it. It's the danger with some remakes where it's just like they change too much trying to make it more modern. Even like the recent Dead Rising remake, where they redid a bunch of the psychopaths to be like the one guy that's a Vietnam vet, and he talks about seeing the Viet Cong in the mall, and he calls you like one of the commies or whatever when he sees you because he's having like a mental breakdown. They cut that, and now he doesn't say that. It's just really, really weird, the whole thing. But anyway, that's beside the point. I hope that it's just a faithful remake. I don't need them to reinvent the wheel. Just give me an enhanced, improved version of Black Flag, and probably don't charge $70 for it, and then we'll be happy and we can move on. But my biggest takeaway of this is it sounds like they're targeting a release window paired with Invictus. And if that's the case, I think that's a great idea, and it would be a fantastic way of avoiding the drama that will come if you just announce a multiplayer offering by itself. I think you pair them. That's a great way to do it, because frankly, I'm not sure if a lot of the old school fans who love like Black Flag, I don't think many of them are going to be playing a multiplayer offering, especially based on some of the leaks around Invictus. I just don't think it appeals to them. So why not release something that they can also get a fix in, while also, you know, having Invictus and all that stuff come out? And allegedly they'll have the Animus Hub or AC Infinity or whatever they end up calling it. And that's supposed to be like a centralized hub launcher, whatever, for all of these games. So the idea would be, I assume, to release the Black Flag remake and then have tie-ins to whatever Invictus is and try to encourage people to go and try it, literally jump ship and go try something else in the AC franchise just to give it a shot, because they got this AC Black Flag fix. And maybe you make it so if you played the Black Flag remake, they get some skin or something in Invictus. There's all sorts of things they could do, but I think that it would be it's a really good idea to launch these things together if that ends up being the intention. I think that's a very, very good thought. Beyond that, hearing that the remake is so much farther along kind of confirms for me it's not going to be a total reinvention. This isn't going to be like a Mafia Definitive Edition kind of thing. They're not going to be redoing it with like whole new combat encounters. I think it's going to pretty much be a one-to-one recreation, but I'm okay with that. I'm okay if it's a little clunky. I'm okay if it plays like a PS4 game. The only potential thing I would really like to see is seamless transitions from the sea to cities. I know it might not be that simple. I know it's not that simple. I know it's very complicated technologically to get that working, because the game was built in a way where you are in the sea or you load into a city. They are completely separate. And I get that it's not that easy to just do seamless streaming into whatever city you're going to. But I think that would be really, really cool. If they did that, that would be extra bonus points for me, and I'd be even more intrigued. But time will tell. Time will tell. But biggest takeaway, I'm just shocked that it's this far, I don't know, ahead of schedule, if that's the right term, but it's further than we thought it was. I thought this was 2026, maybe 2027, you know, if they delayed it again, but it sounds like they're making progress and they're pretty optimistic about it. So interesting. Can't come a minute too soon. I'll tell you what, Ubisoft needs a W. They need a few. They need a couple dozen, but this could be the start of them. Who knows? Black Flag is beloved. So if they do a good job, that would be an easy W. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. See you next stream. I'll be back Monday. Like, subscribe, blah, blah, blah. Much love. He took my thing.